Okay, so I am currently installing a Pacbrake PRXB kit onto my 2005 Ram Cummins 2500 with a G56 6-speed transmission in it. This is kit number C44045. And just going over the parts real quick, I already pulled the elbow off the turbo, but just wanted to say real quick that the kit came exceptionally well packaged. Everything is nice, clean, and organized. The instructions are super easy to read. And so far I've already knocked out the, like I said, the turbo elbow. And I read on the forum an easy way to get those out is to pour, I don't know what that is, to pour oil on top of here and let oil kind of seep down between these V-bands, and that way it gets nice and loose and it's easy to take off. And I did that. I let it sit for maybe, I don't know, maybe 5 minutes, and then they zipped right off, no problem. So I'm gonna keep going with the install, and then at the end of this video I'll do a before and after of how it looks, or how well this brake slows everything down. So cool. I'm gonna get to install the brake itself, and oh, I'm also going to be modifying an Eaton Fuller shift knob to put into this thing, so that way I have like an actual switch I can pop up to turn the brake on and then flap it down, kind of like an old 18-wheeler truck. So cool. All right, so it's the next day. I got the old elbow off. The brake is installed, it's all cinched down. Compressor is routed and plugged in. Let's see. I got my auxiliary air fill right here. The tank down there is mounted. And now I'm just on the wiring. And this is where I got stuck last night. So in the instructions for this is a 2005 with a build date of February of 2005. So in the instructions for 2004 and 2005 model year vehicles, it says locate two 24-pin connectors on the driver's side of the firewall. They should look like that, black and gray connector. I don't have that one. Okay, so what do? It says find a pink wire with a gray tracer. And even down here in 2006, it says right there, a gray wire with a pink tracer. Well, I tried looking for that under the TIPM, which is the totally integrated power module, which is this big fucking thing right here. Sits in front of the battery, holds all your fuses. So I found the pink wire with the gray tracer, or the gray wire with the pink tracer is what 2006 said. Yeah, gray with the pink tracer, which is this guy. So that is a 12 volt constant, so that won't work. So I had to go back and start looking about where I could find a 12 volt keyed accessory source, and there were a bunch of people that said use the pink wire with a yellow tracer inside the cab, and I don't want to run a wire all the way to the cab. I want to stay in the engine bay. So I popped the TIPM up again, and I found on the far connector on the back right there is the pink with yellow tracer. I've already verified that that is indeed a 12 volt keyed ignition source. So if you are having trouble sourcing a 12 volt keyed ignition source on an 05 Cummins, and you have the weird connectors up there that obviously do not correlate with the instructions, then there's your 12 volt source. And then if you follow the wiring diagram here, that's where it says it wants to be. You want a ignition source with a red 10 amp fuse. So I'm going to finish wiring this up. Hopefully Amazon will be here pretty soon with my switch, and I'm going to make a video on modifying that and then throw it all together, and hopefully it works. So there's Amazon. Just dropped off my new shifter, so that's going to be my switch that's going to activate the e-brake, exhaust brake. So anyway, I have Since the Pacbrake harness comes with this connector here, I wasn't going to start cutting that, so what I did is I just soldered in a red wire to the pink and yellow wire, and I know the tape job is awful, but that's all I have on hand. And I got it to my little connector, and I got it tied to my multimeter. So if I go here to the truck, key on. So keys off right now. So I got 0 volts. So if I turn it on, I got 11, 10.8, 11. So not quite 12, but I'm sure it'll be more once the truck starts. But yeah, if you, like I said, if you need that ignition 12 volt source, then that pink and yellow wire on the far connector, or I guess whichever one's closest. And this tip-on thing isn't that hard to take off. You just unbolt this tab from the firewall, and that's just a wire I got for plugging in a heater in the morning. And then it just goes into the battery tray, so you just slide it forward and then take this bolt out, and then you just wiggle it up and you should have access. But okay, let me finish wiring this up. Okay, so I'm gonna try and describe what these ceiling plugs are. If this is your first time doing it, just like it is for mine, when you pull out the plug, I guess you don't actually have to pull out the plug. I just did it because I don't know what the fuck I'm doing really. But try and get it in camera. We've already done pin 40, or I'm sorry, pin 42 for the black plug, which is this guy over here. But this right here is like a little plasticky rubber plug, and you could just pop that out and let it go. And I'm using just a test light to do that. And now I'm going to take my white plug that's under the phone. Come on, I fed it all the way through, so I apologize. Alright, so take the white pin with the special ECM plug, and you're just going to take it, push it in until you hear it click. So keep going. Alright, it clicked. Give it a little pull, and that's in there. So that's how you do the ECM plug. Okay, so it's all hooked up. Everything works, and I temporarily have this switch in there just to test it. I'm not going to use that. As I said earlier in the video, I ordered off Amazon this Eaton Fuller style shift knob, and it came to me about 2 days shipping from Amazon. Now this is the pneumatic style. This is not electric, but I'm going to modify this, and I'll show you here in a few minutes how I'm going to modify it to work. But it's going to be on there, and I'm going to put a momentary switch inside here and flip it up, and the exhaust brake turns on. Click it down, exhaust brake turns off. So the problem is right now is this thread does not match that thread. This thread here on the shifter is 10 by 1.5. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take 3 of these little nuts, and I'm going to thread them on here, and I'm going to basically weld them together to make an adapter. And then this bolt is a 1/2 inch by 13. It's going to go like that, which is going to thread into here, and that's how it's going to be mounted. So I'm going to break the welder out and weld those together and make this little bracket, or I'm sorry, this adapter, and then start wiring, and then hopefully get it together before the sun goes down. So there we go. On to the welding. Okay, so that's the adapter I made. It's nothing fancy, but sorry, it threads on right there. And the Eaton Fuller shifter. Get it started there. Oh, there it goes. Twist that all down. There we go. For a second. Now I just got to open this up, run the wires, connect it to that down there, that switch, and then I'll be good to go. So let me get the shifter off and we'll start modifying it. Time got away from me a little bit and got carried away. But I got it apart, just comes apart with the 2 screws and everything. And what I've gone ahead and done is I drilled a hole right here in the corner that goes straight through out this top hole here. And that's where I'm going to run the wires out of the top. So what I've done here is this little red button is a special button. It's called a NC button, which stands for normally closed, which means if I hooked a battery with a light bulb to this thing and attached it, then the light would be on. So when the button is pushed, it breaks the circuit. Now, why is that important? Well, because with this style shifter, when the air brake is off, meaning it's in the up position, or I'm sorry, when the air brake is off, when it's in the up position, this little lever, or the other end of the switch is sticking up. So when I want the air brakes off, I need this button here to be pressed. In other words, closing it. But when I turn the air brake on, this button will come up, which will mean that it completes the circuit and then, makes the air brake come on. So I got carried away with the drilling a little bit, and I drilled it too big, so I ended up finding a brass fitting in my toolbox, and I just JB welded it in place. I've already soldered the wires and everything, so it comes up, and I drilled 2 holes. As you can see right there, I'm just going to loop the wire straight down and then through the shifter, and then once it's all back together, I'll terminate the ends with some blade connectors or something, so I can hook it straight into the truck. So yeah, that's how you do this. And if you look up a video on, I got a pack of 10 of these little switches on Amazon for, I want to say $10. I can't remember. My wife ordered it from me. But if you look up American Truck Simulator, Eaton Fuller conversion, there's these guys that convert these things to play their games, which is pretty cool. I'm just using it for a real world application, which will work in my truck. So that's pretty cool. All right, let me get this done. And that's what she looks like, getting close together. So let's put it there. And then I'm going to go run the bolts in and put the cover on, and then we'll terminate the ends and then go install it, see if it works. Okay, so I'm sorry it's dark and everything, but I got the shifter installed. I got it wired up. This is just temporary wired. I'm going to tuck it here in a second, but I don't know if you can hear it or not, but here we go. Check it out. Pretty freaking awesome. I'm gonna take it for a test drive in the morning and then get a daytime video of it in action. But I'm gonna go ahead and get all this wiring stowed away and getting all cleaned up. Okay, so do a little bit of a driving video. the brake and everything, but works pretty well.